So honor your health with gentle nutrition.
What the heck does that mean?
I'm just watching Derek cuddle.
Oh, yeah, this is it. He does it in the morning before he leaves for work, and then again at night.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ozzy goes like this.
Yeah. Gentle nutrition, how, as opposed to aggressive nutrition, where it's like, and I think the important note here is that unlike almost any other plan, or this is not a diet, but a lot of diets, right? Lifestyle, ways of eating, etc. The nutrition is in the forefront. It's like the first thing, that you learn about is all the foods you should eat, all the foods you should not eat, and why, and then what's going to happen when you follow these rules. And you'll notice with intuitive eating is that they don't even touch on nutrition until the very, 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 very end. And even when they do, it is very gentle, meaning that this program does not give you any rules or structure of like macronutrients or anything like that. It just is going to tell you some of the research that is on, macros and nutrients and all of that. And then you get to decide based on how you feel what you want to eat. So it's all still revolving around your own personal preferences, intuition, your own body, your own activity level, your, in some cases, your religion or allergies you might have, right? So it's all very, very personal still. And you're in charge.
You're in charge. And I think the idea is that if this was presented in the beginning, this would just turn into another diet. Absolutely. With these rules. Because we're trying to find a balance between taste and enjoyment of food, quantity and quality. And we kind of got to like get in touch with that taste part before we can do the quantity and quality part, because we're all very familiar with quantity and quality. Like, that's a diet. I know that. Like, these are my rules that I have to follow. But like, we want to get in touch with that taste part. And, I think that's what the first 9 steps were. A lot involved.
Absolutely. And I think that, I've already kind of said this, but it's just so important to really see this program as steps in a very particular order, because we don't want to be eating just for taste, and we don't want to be eating just for the nutrition. However, starting with that taste is very important, because most of us just don't even consider the fact that we could be eating in an enjoyable way and have peace with food, peace with our bodies, and be feeling good. Because I think that unfortunately, in the culture that we live in, most people attempt to eat according to what they believe is nutritious, without regard for anything else, and then perceive that eating for any reason besides like pure physical hunger is wrong or unhealthy or indulgent. And we have that, like, even with marketing, like you think about like chocolate's like sinful and like indulge. It's like this weird, and then there's like a guy with abs in the picture and the lady, it's not her husband. Anyway, it's all a thing, right? It's like, I'm intrigued. Where's this?
Where's this party? Can I go there?
But yeah, and that might seem kind of like, oh, well, obviously that's just a funny ad, but like, that's really important, because it's sending this message that certain foods have this temptation, and then of course the serving size for the chocolate is like this big. It's like, right. So who knows where I'm going with all this, Jen?
It's okay. You were going to great places. I think in the beginning, the book goes over the difference between us and the French, and how the French approach food, and they associate food with pleasure more than any other country, and we associate food with terribleness, I think, more than any other country. We consume more diet foods, more low sugar foods, more low fat foods than the French do, and they live longer and have healthier lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, all this worrying about food and what's healthy and not healthy is not improving our health. It's not working.
Absolutely. And I mean, some might argue that the hyper focus on health and nutrition causes like what is the word? It's like a not psychosis, but it's
neuroses.
Like yes, exactly. Where we're not really, if you think about the way and like knowledge is power, man, I'm all for it. But if you think of like 500 years ago, like people didn't know why they were eating what they, right? It's like, you just like had what you had. It wasn't like a thing that people were like, how many calories am I eating? Right? It's just like, I'm hungry, or like, it's winter coming up. Like we need to make sure we have food, or like, we're going to go on we need to get from here to there, and it's going to take us 3 days. So like we need to eat a lot of food, right? It's very, very different now. And it's arguable, right? Can't know this for sure, but it's arguable that our brains aren't really designed to hold all this information in a healthy way around macros and all the, calories and all the different diets and all the different ways to eat.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, as you were saying, we were talking before we started this, was like, how much do we actually know about nutrition and health? And, what is actually really known, the issues with nutritional studies and all of that jazz.
Yeah, it's so important to understand that nutrition science is changing all of the time. And it is very difficult to study nutrition because there are so many complex variables that make up the human, from genes to lifestyle to trauma, that somebody might not even know they freaking had, right? Like trauma in and of itself can have a major effect on digestion and the way that we interact with food in our lives. I mean, it's so complex. So these studies can draw loose correlations. Generally, that's it. And then that correlation is packaged up in a way that the media can then take, and then it blasts out onto our news feeds. And that is such a huge disservice, because that is just not serving us at all. And then it gets very confusing, because if you live long enough, you're like, wait a minute, like, I remember, that's not healthy, right? Like, I thought that wasn't healthy. Now it's saying, oh, I should be eating that, or vice versa. That's so stressful, right? You're like eating this food all the time, right? Drinking milk every day. And then suddenly it's like, milk causes cancer. Like, sorry, whoops,
Yeah.
Stressful.
It is super stressful. And as Justine said, there are those other factors in your life that are probably going to affect your health even more than food will, such as social connection and those childhood traumas. They're called adverse childhood experiences. Those can have very detrimental effects on your health. And then things like economic status and social status and racism, those things can affect your health greatly too. So
yep.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just getting really angry earlier thinking about this loop, and like why fat phobia is just it just makes me so angry, because we have so many people, and I know this because I talk to women all the freaking time about this stuff, are putting off doing physical things in their lives. So many people I've talked to who are like, oh, I want to get in the gym, but I just need to lose weight first, right? So we have this fat phobia that so many people justify, because they're like, well, we can't tell these people that it's okay, because then they'll just be even more unhealthy, whatever. It's just, but it's like the fat phobia itself is keeping people from going to the doctor and going out for a hike or a bike, or going to the gym or going to the dance class, right? It's like, it's just very, very frustrating. Like you're saying, it's like, this is like, those are the things, right? Like focusing on weight loss is not helping anybody. It's like, if anything, it's like, people are so hyper focused on that they're not doing the other things, like going to the social events, or, you know, joining the volleyball thing, you know, or the softball league, you know, even though they played in high school and were really good, but oh no, like maybe next year when I, you know, finally get, you know, on paleo and lose the weight, then I'll do it. Right. It's like, which is healthier, like trying to go on paleo and lose the weight, or like just playing the freaking softball. So that's my anger.
Good. I like it. That was a good rant. Classic Justine rant. Should we talk about like some science-based nutritional things that you can consider on a day-to-day basis?
Yes. So yes, the gentle nutrition, I kind of, in my mind, Jen was kind of, we were talking about like how, like, what do we frame this? But like, I like to kind of think of it like when you're bowling with the little bumpers up, you know, it's just like, there's a lot of leeway there. You're just kind of bumping along like, oh, okay, boop, there we go. Like gentle, just like, oh, you need to, okay, that's cool. And then we come back, you know, it's very, very, very gentle.
Yes. And, you know, these are things that are not going to sound very shocking or groundbreaking to you.
There's no tricks. There's no secrets.
Yeah. So eating plenty of fruits and vegetables, amazing. And guess what? You can like not stress about, you know, carrots having too many carbs. Like they have lots of nutrients in them. Eat the carrot, eat the banana.
I'd like to do my diet dropout confession corner, which is I used to not eat bananas, not eat watermelon, not eat what other fruits? There were a lot of fruits that I like would not eat because they were high on the glycemic index. Come to find out, I'm getting my NASA nutrition certification as we speak. The glycemic index is like it is not a proven factual reference at all.
Well, also, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me because you're not usually eating these foods on their own anyway. So, like,
maybe a banana, I guess. But yes,
yeah.
I mean, it's just my point being is like how many things that I avoided in the name of like health. But is it really about health, or is it about being obsessed with losing weight and stuff? Anyway, that's a whole other issue. But yes, continue, Jen.
Yes. So eat your fruits and vegetables, drinking mostly water for beverages.
Got
it. Yeah, me too. I have a little lime in my water as well today.
Jen, you spicy little sausage.
Mm-hmm. And then what else did we have on there? Eating whole grains and fiber-rich foods.
Guys, fiber is so important, man. Oh my God. Yeah, definitely. And also like, carbs, which Jen and I, I was just telling Jen because I had a tennis lesson and then I played tennis with Jen right after. It was like 2 hours. So I had breakfast that had a big old hunk of bread in the morning, not just bread, but other things. And then I had like a pasta dish about 45 minutes before I went to the gym, and I felt amazing. Tell him, Jen, I did great.
She beat me. You beat me.
Okay, I did a little. You didn't have to say that though. But Jen's a better tennis player. Occasionally I do beat her, but anyway, but like that's, so when we talk about, Evelyn Tribole talks about this, like an example, which she gave this example, like, all right, I'm craving chocolate. Like I'm sitting on the couch. I'm like, ooh, really want some chocolate. And then she kind of just waits a second, be like, all right, let me just check in with myself, like see how, see what's going on here. And she realized she's actually really hungry. So in her mind, she's like, I'm not going to eat chocolate right now. Like I'm actually going to make myself a meal. Mm-hmm. So she, instead of just eating the chocolate, she actually made herself a meal. At the end, she said, she kind of asked herself, like, still want some chocolate? And she did. So then she had her chocolate. So that's such a great example of gentle nutrition, right? It's like, so this idea of like, oh, Hayes intuitive eating is like, eat whatever you want, just eat whatever you want. That's not really what it is. It's a little more nuanced. It's a little more complex than that. And I love that example because that's so true. Like for me, I was really hungry before I went and played tennis. And we have this really good cake that Sunny's mom brought. Hell yeah, I want that. That sounds great to me. Like I'm hungry. I'm like, give me that cake. It's so good. But another part of me is like, wait a minute, what's going to make me feel best for my tennis? Mm-hmm. Not cake, And so I had the cake when I got home instead.
Perfect.
I know.
Perfect.
I wish it's like, I almost feel like we're disappointing people that we're not like, and here's the,
Yeah,
you know,
I know.
that's
Seriously.
not how life is, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. That's just not how it is.
And I think that it's important that your taste, quality, and quantity are not always going to be at the same level every single meal. And it's kind of like on a spectrum that balances out across days, weeks, and months for like this consistent intuitive eating. So there may be meals, maybe occasionally where you do just eat chocolate cake for lunch, but then like maybe dinner has, a good source of protein and some vegetables, and you have some water, and you have,
and I have to say that when I was first going through this process, there were nights when I had ice cream for dinner, and I don't do that anymore, but it was really important trust building for me, because I was telling myself, what do you want? I'll give you what you want. Now, as we evolve as an intuitive eater, like we're saying, things are a little more nuanced, right? And now I don't have that same urge because I know that I can have the ice cream. But at first it was like, there was almost like this part of me was like, really? You say, okay, well, I want ice cream then. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Have the ice cream, right? So I had to work that out. So it's just important for people to understand that this process is totally individual. And you might hang out in one spot for a little while where you're like, I'm just not really feeling my hunger, man. It's been like, weeks or months. And it's, it's just, you got to just go stick with it, because we all have different stories, and backgrounds and all the things that we've talked about. So you can't expect to go through it the same way somebody else went through it.
I have to let Oz out.
Oh, that's totally fine. So I'll rant about something else while you're gone.
Well, you're going to talk about other, what else is on there? You can talk about processed food, protein-rich food, all that jazz.
Jen, I want to talk about the other thing. Okay.
Okay, you rant.
Okay, I'm going to rant about
Derek,
one more
can
thing.
you do me a favor? Can you let Ozzy out for me?
Oh, Derek to the rescue.
Woo! Ozzy, Derek's going to help you. You might have to pick him up.
Ozzy.
So, so another basic guideline, just think about satiety, which we talked about before. And you can look back at the YouTube channel for some of the conversations Jen and I have had about some of the macronutrients. But protein is, it's not just satiating. You especially if you're working out, you really need to watch your protein intake. If you don't, nothing terrible is going to happen. You're just probably not going to feel that great. So this is what we're talking about with that intuition, where you're like, man, I'm working out and I feel gassed every time. Even if it's just like a short workout, I'm just like not feeling great, or not really making gains. I'm tracking, the weights I'm lifting, and I just can't seem to break this barrier, right? If that's one of your goals, which is not everybody's goal. So that would be such a great, so we have those signals coming in. Our bodies are trying to tell us things. That is a great way to think, okay, maybe let's take a look at what I'm eating, like pre and post workout, things like that. That is gentle nutrition. That's another example of gentle nutrition.
Yeah. And I think I actually had a client ask this question the other day, do I need to have a protein shake within 30 minutes of working out? And that's where you're in that strict, I better have this protein, or there's some kind of crazy repercussions, the whole workout will have been a waste. When really post workout is a great time to just eat a nice balanced meal, so, and not stress about that. And it doesn't have to be on any specific timeline after your workout. It could be a half an hour after, it could be 2 hours after, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think my final ranty thing is, at the end of the, they're talking about gentle nutrition and making healthy choices for yourself, et cetera. But health in and of itself is really personal. And some people are not going to achieve health through what they eat. And this whole idea that you can heal everything based on what you're eating is not a thing. And I find that to be an incredibly dangerous, I find it to be an incredibly harmful and dangerous ideology, really. This idea that if you just eat the right foods, you'll never get sick. And if you do get sick, it's because you like did it to yourself because you're not eating right. That's
so much pressure.
Do not spread that shit. You might feel like you're trying to help people, but that is not helping anybody. Like, I promise you, if that's something you want to do, that's your choice. It's one of the beauties of living in America. You go for it. But do not, I just think it's really, really dangerous to be telling, promoting that. I mean, the implications of that, I can't even get into right now, but like, that's dangerous. And I draw that line. Do not do that to people. No one owes you, like, and the other thing is, like, no one owes anyone their health. You know what I mean? Health might not be everybody's top priority, and that's their right.
Yeah.
And this whole idea, oh, well, then their insurance costs are going to be through. Like, pick another thing to get angry about.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
You know where the battery in your iPhone comes from? Children in villages in Africa are getting like kicked out and like killed for this iPhone battery. So maybe focus on that if you want to get mad about something. So just that is too much. And also it just leads into this idea too, that when you see a thin person walking down the street, well, they must be really eating well, blah, 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 blah. And then you see somebody that you perceive as overweight, whatever that means in your eyes. Oh, well, that person, if they just ate better, they wouldn't be overweight, but whatever. It's like, these things are fallacies. I'm sick of it. We need to like overturn. I need legislation. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of politics.
What? Is there something going on right now?
Nope. No, don't Google anything about politics, Jen. Don't even worry about it.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right.
It was like burning behind.
The only thing I know about November, it's my birthday. That's all.
Yeah! Birthdays! Oh, nothing, Ruby. Ruby got really excited by that.
She's like, yay, what do I get? I don't know. What do you think? Are we closing the books on intuitive eating? Well, of course we're not, because we'll talk about it more.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, no, I think this is all pretty well wrapped up. Just, this, it all just comes down to trusting yourself and listening to your body. And it's not that you can't ever look up anything nutritional. And also, it's not that intuitive eating or HAES is discouraging you from trying to pursue better health. And that, I just really want to drive home, that's a big misconception. I made the very big mistake of going down a bit of a YouTube hole of people who think that HAES and intuitive eating is literally like killing people and it's like super irresponsible. And the major misconception that they were just like, well, they just say, just eat cake all day, right? It's like, that's not the message here. And if anyone's like confused about that or is having trouble grasping or whatever, like, please reach out, because I certainly hope that that's not the message. It's really, it's about building like a beautiful relationship with yourself and food that we need every single day, something that we have to interact with. It's not like smoking cigarettes or something like that. Like a lot of, people talk about that with like quitting sugar or whatever, and some people do that for their own whatever, but it's like, this is different. Like, we must eat. And like, what a tragedy to have a strained relationship with this thing that we must interact with every day. Like, the time for healing is like right now, like, that's how I feel about it. Solidarity. All right. I feel like this went really well. How long have we been talking, Jen?
I don't know, but I am ready to lay on my couch.
Jen's like, it's like the people who are reporting on the election, and they're just like, we've been here all night. And I just want one camera to capture the person that's just like nodding off, Anyway, that'd make my day. Okay, everybody, we'll post again about Lindsay's webinar. That's going to be so dope. I'm so pumped about that, just like on a personal level, but also for all of you who have this exclusive Soul Sisters access. Okay. All right, Jen. Oh, you're tired. Okay. I'll see you. Are you going to tennis tomorrow?
No, I'm just going to play outside tomorrow.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll miss you.
I'll miss you.
Bye.
Bye.